Hey!
Hi there.
So, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you won for?
Yes, my name is Louis Mofsie, and I am the director of the Thunderbird American Indian Dance Company. And we have been given this award, and I have been honored to receive the award for our work in many of the different schools in New Jersey, all over New Jersey, bringing our dance company and talking about Native American people, and hopefully through the dance, through our dancing, to give the children a better understanding of what the Native American culture is. But I did want to take a minute to thank so much the New Jersey Young Audiences Group. They are the people who made it possible for us to travel to all of these different schools. And I have to tell you, it has just been a very, very wonderful experience. And I think it is so important for young people to see, number one, a live performance, and number two, dance, which again is something I think that they don't get a chance to see. And number three, to see a group of real Native American people doing their dances and telling their stories and telling how these dances started, where they come from, what their background is, and what it means to the people. And hopefully, through that kind of connection with our group and the performances that we give, they really begin to understand that we're not just in textbooks and we're very different because, you know, what's happened in the schools for so many years, they have taught about Native American people, but it's always in the past tense. They always say, this is how they used to live, this is how they used to build their houses, this is how they used to take care of their children. And it makes the boys and girls in school get this kind of idea, well, we're no longer around.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a very funny experience one time. A young man came up to me after the program and he said, I just wanted to say something to you. He said, I really thought the program was very good. But he said, you don't look 400 years old. And I said, okay, you got the point. So I think that's part of what it's all about. And I'm so happy that young audiences are really encouraged, the schools also, you know, to be interested in the Native American culture. We have the Black culture out there. We have the Filipino culture out there. We have all of these other different cultures, bringing their Mexican. But it's very rare that you see a Native American company go out and present their dances and their songs and their culture. So that's what the award is about. It's about being able to make that contact, being able to meet the children, be able to show them and explain to them what we're about, who we are about, so that hopefully when they go away from the program, they can say, and I know this has happened because kids have told me this. I go home and tell my mom and dad that I met a real Native American person today. And I say, well, that's good. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. So, as we close out our red carpet, do you have any words of advice for the class of 2020, whether it be the people who won the Governor's Award during this year or the people that are graduating this year, either from college or from high school?
I think what I'd like to say to the young people, especially the arts are so important to everyone's life. And unfortunately, it's not given the recognition it should have. In fact, in many of the schools today, the first thing they cut out when the budget is going low are the arts. And the arts are so important. It has been proven over and over again that through the arts, whether it's visual arts, whether it's painting or drawing, whatever it is, the children actually learn better. They learn their academic work much better by going with the arts. And I said, it's such an important thing. So I like to say, you know, if you're an artist, if you're a dancer, if you're a playwright, if you're an actor, whatever it is you do, continue doing it, keep doing it as much as you can, get out there, and particularly with the young boys and girls, reach the young boys and girls because at their age is so important because what you're doing is you're helping to develop their comprehension of what the world is all about. And the world is such a beautiful world. And it's only because we have the arts. I mean, if you look around, any country in the world, the first thing you want to see is their art. Look at Italy. Where would Italy be without its arts? And I have to say this, where would America be without its arts? And that is something we have to work on.
Absolutely. Well, it was so wonderful meeting you, and thank you for all your persistence and your hard work in your craft. And I hope you have a wonderful night.
Oh, we're looking forward to it. And I wish everyone congratulations because this is really wonderful. I'm so happy that the governor of Jersey, New Jersey, has recognized a Native American dance company. I think that is wonderful. And I think it's worth all the work.
I agree. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you're going to get water to grow your crops in the desert, it's from the rain. So many of their dances are prayer dances. This particular one from the Hopi goes back many, many years. And it was originally a ceremonial dance that has evolved today into one of the social dances that they do. And it's called the Eagle Dance. They say many years ago, when the eagles fly very, very high in the sky and do very particular kind of movements, that's a sure sign that rain is going to be coming soon. And so in their dance, they imitate those movements of the eagle. Eagle Dance of the Hopis. Our next dance again is not just one dance, but actually two dances. The first part, dance that the women do, called the Jingle Dress Dance, and the second part, which the men do, called the Grass Dance. The Jingle Dress Dance has a very interesting history to it. They say, not too many years ago, there was a mother who had a very ill daughter, and one night she had a dream. And in the dream, she had a vision. And in the vision, she was told if she showed the women how to make a very special kind of dress with these little cones or jingles on it, and if she showed them how to do a very, very special kind of dance, and if she sang a very special song for them, if she did all of these things just as she was told in the vision, her daughter would get well. The next day, the mother showed the women how to make the dress with the little cones or jingles on it. She showed them how to do a very, very special kind of dance, and she sang a very special song for them, and sure enough, her daughter got well. And so this dance kind of started as a healing dance, but today it's come down to us as one of the more popular dance styles at the powwow gatherings. The dance the men do is called the grass dance. And this dance goes back many, many years ago when the people out in the Great Plains depended on the buffaloes for many, many things. Number one, the buffalo was their source of food. Number two, the buffalo hides they would use to make their houses or teepees. The buffalo skins they would use to make their clothes. And the buffalo bones they would use to make spoons and knives and needles to sew with. But 300 or 400 years ago, the buffaloes didn't stay in one place. They wandered all over the Great Plains. And because the people depended on the buffaloes for so many things, wherever the buffaloes would go, that's where the people would go. So the people moved from one campsite to a new campsite very often. But before they moved into a new campsite, there were a group of dancers that they would send out before the rest of the people. And these dancers would go into the new camping area and they would dance. But they were doing something else that was very important, because out in the Great Plains, there's this very tall grass that grows. And what these dancers were doing is they were dancing, they were taking their feet and they were crushing down the tall grass. So when the rest of the people arrived, they have a nice, smooth, flat area to put up the camp. So first we're going to see the women with the jingle dress dance, and then the men with the grass dance. Our next dance comes from Oklahoma, and out there they call this the old style for traditional warriors dance. They say this is the way the warriors used to dance many, many years ago. When they came after battle back to the village, they'd have all the people gathered, just as we're gathered here this evening. And at that time, the warriors would come out and they would dance for the people. And as they were dancing, they say, they were telling you a story with their movements of some of the experiences that they had while they were out on the trail. We're going to see our dancers first coming in, doing what's called the sneak up. That's just exactly what the word says it is. They're showing you in this part of the dance how they would sneak up on their enemy. And then as they start dancing, a little later on, you will notice that they seem to be pointing and looking at the ground. That's to show you that they're following the footprints of their enemy. You'll also notice that as they are dancing, they get down very close to the ground. And that's to show you that they're trying to hide or conceal themselves behind the bushes and the trees. But the most important thing about these warriors was the fact that they were very, very proud people. The tribe looked up to them. They had great honor and respect for the warriors. So whenever the warriors would dance, they would always show you in their dance how proud they were to be the protectors of the people. Old style or traditional warriors dance now from Oklahoma. Our next dance, once again, is two parts. First part done by the women, which is called the fancy shawl dance, and then the second part, which is done by the men, called the fancy dance. And this dance also has a very interesting story to it. It was created back around 1945, right after the Second World War. Now, traditionally, the women did a very slow kind of dance around the outside of the circle. And on the inside of the circle, of course, the men would be doing a much more vigorous kind of dancing. But during the war years, not only did the men volunteer for the armed services, but so did the women. And they had an opportunity to travel all over the world. And they would watch the women in these many different countries and saw how they were dancing. And so when they got back to their homes, they said, we want to have a dance, and we don't just dance around the outside of the circle. We want a faster rhythm. And we don't want to just dance on the outside of the circle, we want to dance on the inside of the circle too. So they created this dance called the fancy shawl dance. And when the women do this dance, they wear the shawl over their shoulders and over their elbows. And they spin and they turn. And the fringe on the shawl sways back and forth and reminds you very much of the feathers that the men wear. Now, when the women dance, they do not wear the feathers and they do not wear the bells on their legs like the men do. But their footwork and their movements are very similar to the dance styles of the men. A young man is going to come in right after they finish and do what's called the fancy dance. And this, again, was created right after the war when all of the men saw how they were dancing around the world. They said, when we get back to our home, we want to dance a little more lively, a little faster rhythm. We just saw the old style dancing. They say, we want to dance a little faster. We want to move. We want to do fancy movements. And so they created what they call the men's fancy dance. And so first we're going to see the women with the fancy shawl dance, and then our young man with the fancy dance. dance comes from the Taos Pueblo people way out in New Mexico, and it's called the hoop dance. The object of the dance is to take a series of hoops. The first, place them on the ground. And then while the dancer is dancing, they pick up each one of the hoops without using their hands and dance in and out of the hoops while keeping in time with the rhythm of the drum. Now we understand the dance was created to test the skills of the dancers, and the more hoops the dancer uses, the more skilled he is considered. Most of the dancers start out with one hoop, go on to 2 hoops, 3 hoops, and dance with as many hoops as they can. So we'd now like to present the hoop dance from the Taos Pueblo people of New Mexico.